had the distinct pleasure of being with Effective Living, doing exercises with Miss Sonia.
Today we had a fun day out here at River Legacy Park. The Effective Living community came together.
We had a very effective day with Effective Living today. We had a scavenger hunt, a nice walk around the park, as well as a great workout with Miss Sonia.
We were dancing, we were doing burpees, but it was all in fun.
We have also had an opportunity to meet new people, and it has been a great day. Not a part of the Effective Living community, we want to encourage you to do that because it is a place that we can continue to have fun.
Involved a lot of dance moves as well as just basic workout moves, so it brought everybody together for all ages, and I think it was a great, fantastic workout.
So next time we have something, we want to see you there. The more the merrier, and join us in this journey to create a life you don't need to take a vacation from.
Our next Effective Living event will be July 17th. Mark your calendar, Saturday, July 17th.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, watching us from around the world. Oh my goodness. We are now on day 2 of July, and this month is the month where we celebrate our 2nd year anniversary. Yep, that's correct. Effective Living has been doing it.
Yes.
Woo! We've been doing it. You know, I spoke with my good friend and brother, Dominic Antonino, on yesterday, and we talk about how the organization, the company was formed, and why we do what we do. Well, this entire month, we're celebrating 2 years. Somebody said, well, it's just 2 years. Why are you celebrating? I believe it's important that you learn to appreciate every step you make. Okay? Yeah, you learn to appreciate every step. Those baby steps are important. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Everybody wants to be great. Most people don't want to start with the initial steps to acquire greatness. And so tonight, I'm joined with one of my good friends and a strong supporter of the Effective Living platform, message, and community, Jocelyn Charles. What's going on, lady?
Hey, Coach Ricardo. How are you? I am so glad to be here today.
Amen. I'm glad you're here. I see you rocking your Effective Living shirt.
I rock my shirt. I wear it's about worn out. I wear it frequently.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, let me tell you something. Look what we're celebrating for the anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the new shirt coming out, anniversary edition. I'm creating a life I don't need to take a vacation from. Go to the website. People, you got to go to the website and get yourself your shirt. Now, Jocelyn, you have been following the platform for a while. As a matter of fact, you've watched the inception of the platform launch, and you knew me before Effective Living. And so tell our viewing audience a little bit about you. Could you do that for us, please?
Of course. Well, again, my name is Jocelyn Charles. I'm right here in Dallas, Texas. I am a mother of 2 teenagers. My career field is in medical insurance. And a few years ago, I realized that it takes more than one income. So I started my Mary Kay business, and I absolutely love it. And I also am a server in children's ministry. I would say student ministry at the Great Pathway of Life Church. I serve in the children's ministry, also in the youth ministry. And when I combine the two, it has really stretched me, but it's a blessing. I love serving at my church and the community with effective living. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, we're glad you're a part of it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be focusing on this whole platform called Effective Living. Some people don't know that we built this platform with the premise that these 5 foundational principles, if you work on them and get them up to a very healthy state, you could find yourself living what we call effective living. And so in addition to establishing the 5 foundation, which is faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, those 5 establishes a person at a higher level of living. But guess what? You can learn more about the whole model of taking your life to a new level by simply getting the book. You heard me correct. We have the book, Effective Living. It's the guide, y'all. It's the guide. See it here. I got my copy. Make go to the website, get your copy. I'm telling you guys, last year, the book dropped and people around the world have been getting their copy. You can go to my website, ricardomiller.com, and get your signed copy. Now, Miss Charles, I want to know, okay, you've always been a lady of business, meaning you got your job, you got your kids, you got your church ministry you're involved in. Effective Living, you found the platform online as I was launching it and doing all my thing. Why did you join? Tell us what attracted you to the platform called Effective Living.
Because for me, I was busy, as you just mentioned. I was doing everything, trying to cover all these bases because while I'm a mother of 2 teenagers, I'm a single parent. And I'm trying to manage myself, manage my household, my children, trying to make sure I'm performing well at my job, serving in church, and trying to have a social life outside of those things. And I knew immediately that I needed Effective Living, the platform in my life, when I realized what it was all about, because I didn't want to just be busy and not developing and building on what God had given me. And I found myself in a place of a chaotic space in my life. And while it may appear to some others that, oh, she's awesome, she's doing all these things, I felt like I was just spinning and spiraling out of control. So I needed to grab a hold and stay connected with Effective Living just to help me set my foundation and help me just be more strategic and strategize in all these different areas of my life and know and believe that it can all come together.
Wow.
Yeah.
You heard that correctly, guys. It can all come together. That's one of the things I'm a strong advocate for, man. You know, I want it all. Okay. I tell people, you know, they say, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I want to know why can't I have my
I'm
cake
with
and
you.
eat it?
I'm with you. I used to say that when I was young.
Yeah.
And then when I started going through hardships, I thought, oh, how foolish of me to say I want it all.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
it's coming back around. I'm like, you know what? I can absolutely, definitely go for it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I believe that it is important for those of you that are watching. We got Brady just jumped in here. Brady says, listen, man, hello, I'm checking this talk out tonight.
Right.
Listen, I believe that it is important that we go for all. You know what? If we can get a man on the moon, Miss Charles, okay? If we can have submarines in the deepest parts of the ocean. I mean, listen, a city was made in a desert, okay? Why can't I have what God says I can have? Only me is my limit. You know, I limit me. And the scripture says, according to your faith, be it done unto you. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop saying that stuff that I've been hearing, but doesn't really connect. It doesn't resonate with my spirit. I feel as though I need to come for all that belongs to me. And so the platform has this huge push for going after all that you believe that belongs to you. And so we got people checking us out. Hey, listen, Evangelist Todd in the Bahamas is watching. Denola, what's up, Denola? God bless you. We're so grateful for celebrating 2 years, because I'm believing that we're going to have a lot more years to come. But until we get to what's coming tomorrow, we're going to celebrate what's today. Yeah. And today, this entire month, we're celebrating 2 years. You are right. Now, Ms. Charles, the platform pushes this whole concept of healthy habits. As a matter of fact, the book talks about healthy habits. Yeah. When you think about healthy habits, how have that chapter impacted your life? As a matter of fact, I wrote a book chapter on healthy habits, but I did a webinar last year on breaking bad habits. And so I'm a strong advocate for assessing oneself to acquire the appropriate behaviors that should be incorporated on a daily basis. Healthy habits. How have that chapter impacted your life? What did you get from it?
Well, you first have to know, I had to recognize, in order to develop healthy habits or to get rid of the bad habits, I had to drive that bad habit out with a healthy habit. It's easy to think that I'm going to stop doing X, Y, and Z. I know this isn't helping me. I've been going around this mountain for too long. But if you don't figure out what the better thing is and start to apply it, that bad habit you're not going to get rid of that root. And so the healthy habits chapter in this book helped me when it came to my chaotic life, because I wasn't executing a lot of healthy habits. I was just stuck in a cycle. And so it helped me organize my life on the home front, as far as a mother, helped me recognize what was most important and prioritize, and realizing I don't have to do everything. It's okay to let some things go. Pick your battles. I had to accept that and receive that. Once I received that, I was good. I was so much better. But this chapter really was a pivotal point to move past that place of being stuck. Because when you establish your healthy habits, you see the fruit of that. And when you see the fruit of that, you want more of it.
That is so good. Now, you said something. You said, man, I don't want to keep going around the same mountain. There was this self-realization. I have to come to myself. I need to come to myself and realize I don't think this is the way I'm supposed to be living.
Right.
I mean, obviously, that was a major wake-up call. What do you believe hold a lot of people back from accepting that I don't like where I am? And every year, I found myself going around the same mountain. I heard you said, I don't want to keep going around the same mountain. You decided, okay, my bad habits are hurting me. My good habits will help me. I need more good habits. The book talks a lot about good habits. But in your view, what was the struggle that probably may have kept you longer than you needed to be kept going around the circle, or what you believe has caused others to keep going around the same mountain?
What I notice with others in particularly, it could be fear of, sometimes our bad habits are connected to other people. Yeah. And we don't want to let them go for whatever reasons, for a number of reasons. A lot of that is fear, or moving into a position of unknown, or developing healthier relationships. And we fear moving towards the healthier individuals, the healthier group, because we are taking an inventory of ourselves and we don't like what we are. So we're not going to really gravitate, or maybe hesitant to gravitate towards the crowd or the group that are really making things happen. They're executing and showing positive behaviors and just doing good things in the earth, serving, and just all the things that you're attracted to, but you think you're not worthy yet.
Wow.
And so you hang around those who validate who you are, and that you're comfortable with letting all that hang out, and you're just not really ready to take that next step. It's almost like a fear of being successful, or whatever that means to you. But You just have to let go and know that God has something greater, and don't be afraid to move towards those individuals that you look up to, that gives you inspiration, that you aspire from. Just go for it, because those who are holding you down, they just want you to stay right there with them. They don't want you to move.
Wow.
And so you have to be willing to let that go. Sometimes it could just be distance.
Yeah.
And find a strategic way to, distance yourself from that crowd or that individual. And sometimes you have to cut that person all the way off.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're celebrating 2 years, Effective Living. Listen, the platform has been established to help people take control of their life. It's a life management platform. As a matter of fact, it's based its whole ideology around personal responsibility. Okay, personal responsibility. You heard me correctly. Ms. Charles just mentioned something that I believe is critically important for us to capture, on our journey to living life to the fullest. We need community. We need a tribe. The journey is best with friends, but there are some people who are just outright not good for us. One of the things that I've been saying for a while, and it's important that you hold on to this, someone is assigned to help you while someone is also assigned to distract you. Yeah. There are people who have been called to be with you on your journey to greatness. And then there are others who have been called to discourage you. They've been challenging you to just stick with them or just keep it safe. You watch those people who say, don't get a big head. I see you with your new car, but don't let it get to your head. That ain't nothing. It's like there's this constant trying to pull you back. But how important is it, ladies and gentlemen, for you to find those who will help you to soar at the level of your potential? See, the goal is not to compare yourself with another. The goal is to tap into what you are supposed to be about in the earth. And so my mission daily is not to be better than you. My mission is to be better than I was yesterday. Now, Ms. Charles, you talk about association. There are a lot of people who don't know how to distance themselves. I heard you say you got to be strategic sometimes. Maybe as you plugged in to certain people before, you have decided, I'm not going to plug in as much moving forward, because I realize you're not good for me, or you're a little bit too comfortable, or you have no interest in moving forward. And I don't like where I am. I want to move forward. I mean, come on, talk to us about that, because that's a reality for a lot of people.
Yes. And for me, I began to pay attention to who's producing fruit and who isn't. And, a lot of people, you have that. And sometimes it happens within your church family, all kind of circles. And they love the Lord, and we all do, right? But then they're not budging. They're not, they're not growing. They're not challenging. They're not willing to be accountability partners. And as much as they love the Lord, they won't even come with you together and pray. They'll tell you they're praying for you, but I pay attention to that. And I'm okay. And so when I don't see any fruit, I don't want to be next to that tree or stuck to that tree or stuck to that person. So I look to where the fruit is going. And then I look at myself, and I look back over the past year. Am I that individual that is attracting others for all the right reasons? Because I want my circle to be positive, but I want to attract people who are looking for individuals like me as well. And so I start to look at the fruit, or if there isn't any fruit. And I'm like,
I like that. The book actually says it. The Bible says you will know them by their fruit.
Right.
And we all need to be fruit inspectors. We need to be fruit inspectors. And I like what you said. Not only am I looking at what you are producing as a friend, a colleague, or someone in my circle, be it church, be it in the community, be it in a social group, be it at work. I want to know. And I want to see, and I want to feel that those that are around me are like-minded.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. The thing that you must realize is association matter. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time around. Okay? We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time around. So the need to be sensitive to your circle really does matter. Now, how do you judge? I like what Ms. Charles said. You judge them by their fruits. Okay? Now here's the deal. In the book, Ms. Charles, we talk a lot about a lot of different things that people should be looking at in relations to the right habits, the principles necessary for winning. When we look at our association, I wrote this down. One of the healthy habits that we established in the book is really this whole concept of evaluating your circle. What would you say has been the importance of a tribe for you on your journey to living life effectively? That let's talk about that, because you mentioned the word accountability partner. That whole role of accountability partner, that whole role of having a tribe, and the experience of knowing there are other people like you on this journey. What's that been like for you?
Well, I pay attention when someone goes into agreement with me, or we go into agreement with one another to be accountability partners. I expect a certain level of transparency, and so because I know it's not all good days, and I'm going to share when I'm struggling, and when I'm having successes, or when we're just trying to just push each other through. And so so I pay attention to if you're giving some of that back to me as well. I know we're not going to tell everyone every detail, but in that specific area that you're holding yourselves accountable for, I expect some level of transparency, because we got to keep it real. So I can help my friend from making that same mistake I made. Like, watch me. You see my journey. You see how I struggled with this. I bumped my head. I ran into that wall. But now I know, and I'm ready to apply myself this way. I need that in return. I need that back. And, and some encouragement. And we all need to say to one another that you're doing a great job. I'm really learning a lot from you, and I really appreciate you sharing this with me. And so it has to be an exchange. It has to be reciprocated.
Yeah. How important is it? Let's dive into this. Breaking out of your shell. Every year, if you're going to get better, it's almost like there are a number of different critters that have to outgrow a shell or a cocoon or some form of the way they were in order to get to where they need to be. How's that been for you? Because you appear to look like you're pushing yourself to new levels and new heights, and you're loving it. Well, how have that been to you? Has it been fearful, or has it been something that you almost now starting to feel, oh my goodness, it's starting to feel natural to actually evolve?
Yes. Well, it's liberating. And for me, it is evolving, but it's also, in the past, I lived and I operated from this little place, and there's so much more to me, and I feel freer now. For several different reasons. I just feel freer to be my true authentic self. I'm just letting go of what I think others think of me, and not caring so much what they do think of me, because I know at the end of the day, not everyone is going to be crazy about Jocelyn, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that more and more each day. And so, and knowing that God created me unique, and He wants my light to shine, and I want to attract others and be a blessing if it's going to bring glory to God, and if it's going to help others come out their shell and know that they could be free. You don't have to be stuck in a jail or living from this small space when God made so many levels to us in our being. And so I just want to live all out. I just want to stretch my wings all out and be my goofy little self. Sometimes I can be quite goofy, but I love to have fun. But I'm very sensitive to a lot of things as well. And so I'm like, I'm doing myself an injustice. I'm doing God an injustice of who He created if I continue to live from this small space.
Wow. I'm doing God a disjustice if I continue to live from this small space. And that is so true, because at the end of the day, I learned this years ago, that when I'm out of place, it affects someone else's destiny. Somebody need to write that down.
Good.
When I'm out of place, it affects someone else's destiny. When I maximize my potential, I open the doors and windows for others to also tap into their greatness. Because all of us are like a puzzle connecting ourselves to our rightful place that actually causes someone else to get to their rightful place. So when you're out of place, please know, if greatness lies within you, but you never tap into the greatness that's within you, there are other people waiting on you to tap into what you've been called to do.
That's good.
Ooh.
That's real good.
So here's the deal. I heard you. You said that, listen, I have to decide. No, I've become conditioned to maybe be in this circle for a while. I've been here for a while, but I now realize there's more. You said a few things. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to rewatch this interview, this talk, a couple of times, because Ms. Charles is tapping into some stuff. You said that you had to get to the point where you became aware that where you were wasn't the place where you belong and you needed to go further. That's pretty much what you were saying. I grabbed a hold of that, and I'm now saying there are people who they feel as though they can't get there because, let's go back to this again, because I want our show tonight to really focus on association. There are people who the circle they're around is just toxic. The energy is bad. And so I want to know, what advice would you give? Again, practical things that can help someone to realize you need to get closer or better connected to people who are going somewhere. One of the things I talked about in a webinar that I did lately, and I teach this to my son and a number of other persons who are close to me, and that is, it is impossible to put your hands in a bucket of glue without some of that glue sticking to you. And so even if you don't feel like you're qualified, go around people who are qualified. Even if you feel like you don't have an education, if you hang around people who have education, it brings you up because you're going to learn something you didn't know that will help you to go to new levels. You have been doing what you've been doing and you're loving it. What's been helping you to be able to identify toxic and healthy and moving towards healthy and removing yourself away from toxic people?
Well, moving towards healthy relationships blesses more than one area of your life. It reciprocates to the people who are in your household, to your children, your overall well-being. And also what I would say to those who find themselves not able to let go of the negative relationships or the negative people, I want to tell them and encourage them to believe in your vision, because we all have a vision of who we want to be. We all have that, it could be a little imagination, however you want to call it or label it, of the man or the woman you see yourself as 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. Start to put yourself or believe in that, trust God for that, and start putting yourself in the circle of people that's going to help you develop to that. Don't be afraid. There's no harm in growing into the person you visualize yourself as you look in the mirror and you speaking back to yourself. Those negative people and negative friendships, they're not going to help you get there because you will already be there. So you have to do something different if you want to grow and go to the next level.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking tonight from our book, Effective Living, and the celebration of our 2nd year anniversary. Effective Living is growing, and the platform is continuing to evolve into an entity or a community that's helping a lot of people. We're loving what's happening. Ms. Charles, we're diving into this whole concept of association and the need to assess or evaluate who's around you, and then deciding, I don't want to be around people who are really not good for me. But let's talk about this. We have relationships that just not good for us. Gracefully disconnecting. I wrote that down. Gracefully disconnecting. What would you say that you would say is a tactful approach to navigating yourself out of a toxic space or an unhealthy environment when it comes to people or relationships? and just keep your sanity without probably making too much of a scene when it comes to, because some people call you out. I just don't hang around y'all no more. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm coming up and y'all going down. I mean, there are some people who have no tact.
No tact. And I say they don't have any tact because they don't really stop to consider, what if it was them? How are you going to make that individual feel? When you exit the scene, you have to do it with grace. You have to do it to the point when you see that individual, there isn't any awkward moments. You can give that hug, that handshake. Hey, how you doing? It's so good to see you. But to do it tactfully, I would speak from a position, women, we talk on the phone a lot. We may do that quite often. If you find yourself in a friendship with someone that is not really doesn't really work towards their goals, or is toxic, or isn't blessing you, or don't show any fruit, reduce those calls, reduce it to once a week. Call 1 week, the next week text, hey sis, I'm just checking in, I hope you're doing well. And by the third or fourth week, call again, and just to say hello. They answer the phone, leave a message, keep it moving. You see them this day, you see them that day, hug them. It's good to see you, how you doing. You have to be strategic about it, because if you're ugly about it, it creates this awkward energy when you do see them face to face. And then they're wondering, is she mad at me, or why is she acting that way? It just create a big ball of negative energy, not just on you, on that individual as well. So we are to be examples of, Jesus showed us how to walk on this earth and how to be examples, right? So we have to proceed with love, and we have to put our best foot forward to take care of ourselves, as far as being in a good space around positive people, or letting go of negative relationships. But you do have to be strategic and do it with kindness and love. I'm a true believer of that. I'm good. I'm glad to say I don't fall out with folks. I don't fall out with people.
That's good.
And I just try to just keep it cool. There's no reason to get negative. There's no reason to get all this bad negative energy. You're not feeling me no more. Okay, I still love you. And I see I need to distance myself from you, but I still love you.
I like it. The Bible says, as much as possible, live peaceably with all men.
Yes.
As much as possible. Now, I like what you said a little bit earlier. Not everybody's going to feel Jocelyn Charles. Not everybody's going to be into Ricardo Miller. I tell people all the time, that's the reason why we got KFC and Popeyes, okay? Some people ain't feeling KFC, but they love them some Popeyes.
I love Popeyes.
and that's good, okay? And that's good. You got to get to the point where you realize you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
Yeah. And that's okay. As a matter of fact, some people don't even like tea at all. Okay. And so I heard you said this though, and I think it's really cool. And that is, you've come to the place where you realize being tactful is necessary, because the truth is, I like you saying that, because we just never know what the future holds. And today for you, tomorrow may be for me. And so why do I need to be ugly in my rise to another level, when the truth is, I don't know what tomorrow holds? I mean, a tornado come through the area, never know. I can find myself right back where I began. Not that I won't be able to get back to where I'm at now or even further, but you just never know when you're going to need people. In addition, there are some people, as you mentioned, how would you want someone to treat you or make you feel? I like that whole point as well. Looking at, okay, I'm doing something different. They may not be interested in it. I'm going to start pulling myself back. I like that as well. I'm going to start pulling myself back. If I used to talk every day, we're going to maybe talk every other day, then once a week, and then once every other week, and then once a month. And we still connected. We're just not what we used to be.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a way to do everything. Okay? The Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. If life's not working for you, you may want to study what you've been doing up to this point. Now, Ms. Charles, I've been watching you. I've served alongside you. We worship and serve at our church together. Over the years, you've been working at becoming who you are today. And you're saying, I like me and I like what I'm becoming. Self-awareness and self-acceptance. for you, let's talk about that, because clearly you're becoming more in sync with who Jocelyn Charles need to be. And you're liking that, but everybody doesn't get that. When did you find yourself starting to get that, and what is making you to really embrace it even the more?
I start to get that, and I start to pay attention. And during the pandemic, 2020 was a real, you know, whirlwind for a lot of people, different reasons, different levels in your life. For me, it was self-reflection, looking back at myself and who I am, and remembering the parts of me that I loved and enjoyed when I was younger. And I'm like, where is that person? I know I'm no longer that person altogether, but there's some elements of me still in there. And I'm like, you know what? Just live bold and live free.
Wow, live bold, live
thing
free.
that was ringing in my head at the end of 2020, and I couldn't let it go. And I just said, you know what? And then fear started to creep in. I said, you're gonna lose a lot of people when you start just being you and doing you regardless. People are going to look at you a little different, because you're not to them who you used to be. I'm still that same person, but as I said earlier, I was living from a space here, and it's nothing that no one else did to me. It's how I thought I should be. And so when I became more aware of myself and accepting who God made me as, and remember that person that was always fun and outgoing and enjoying life. Like, what happened? Where did I get so serious? Where did it come from that I had to live from this safe place for a certain group of people to like me and accept me? And I just had to let it go. And I've been so joyful and just loving life, even though life still brings me challenges. But my whole attitude about it is like, what up?
Hey, that's a good place to be.
Yes, and I like that, and I want more of that, and I want others around me who have that same mindset and attitude about themselves. Accepting myself where I was and where I am is very important to work on myself to get to the next level. But accepting myself and loving myself and enjoying all the elements of life around me.
Wow. Enjoying all of the elements. Now, you can't get all of the elements if you don't declare, watch this, I want my cake and eat it too. Okay.
Yes.
I want it all. I want it all. And that's what effective living is all about. It's deciding to want it all. Now, someone may say, Ricardo, I've lived long enough and I've had some challenging days. Well, here's the deal. We all will have challenging days. We're not exempt from bumps in the road. But what we have learned is that it's all about how we respond. It's all about how we respond, and it's deciding. Okay, it's deciding. I'm coming for mines. Okay, because in this world, there is a lot to acquire, from joy and peace and prosperity and travel and just comfort. There's so much. There's so much. You don't have to sell your soul for it.
No.
Okay. You can really find yourself at a good place where you just really like where you are. And Ms. Charles, that's what I'm hearing. Now, let's talk about this for a moment. As you have been embarking on this journey, which it is a journey, have you gotten to a place where, self-improvement, you feel as though, I probably can do this for another year and then I'm going to just fizzle off? Or you're now realizing the role that it's a journey and it's a lifelong journey, and it's not a style, it's not a fashion, it's not a fad, it's not something you do because the pandemic occurred and now that the pandemic is starting to no longer be what it was, like that of 2020, I could start to pull back from the level of discipline. How have you been in relations to making it a lifestyle? What you're doing, making it a lifestyle, because we've been teaching that in effective living, but I'm interested in hearing, how are you making it a lifestyle, not just a fad or a style?
For me, I look forward to what's next, my next chapter in life. I set goals. I thank you, God, for where I am now. I'm glad for what you've blessed me with, but I want more. You know, this isn't the final stop. You know, I'm like, okay, there's, you know, our Father holds all the riches in heaven. There's more in life that I want to accomplish and do. And I don't want to get back to that place where I am digging and searching for my joy or for my happiness. You know, I always want to be able to tap into that, acknowledge that, and wherever the journey is. So for me, it's setting goals, not being too complacent, because you know when you're not working towards nothing, is, to me, you can lose focus of the things that you're grateful for. And so you, in order to focus on where you want to go, I always stay in the mindset of gratitude. I'm thankful for where I am, God, but I pray that it's in your perfect will, that my desires line up with your perfect will. I want this. God, I know you have a way to bless me with this if it's in your will, but I'm putting it out there and I'm going to work. I'm going to keep going towards it until you put that brick wall up to say, hey, no, that ain't for you. But if there is no stop sign, if there's no brick wall, if there's no halt, I'm taking the next step, fearful. Sometimes we're fearful. Sometimes we don't even see the whole picture, but you know it's in the direction of being a blessing to your future. Just go. Just keep going. Just keep going. And so that gives me excitement right there to just know that I just can't sit and be complacent. Set your goals, because my vision isn't fulfilled. I'm doing better, thank God. But I this vision I had. There's more. There's more. So you want it all? I'm like, I gotta go get it, and I have to believe that I can have it and that I'm worthy of it. And once you do that, it takes a lot of the chains. It breaks a lot of chains once you recognize that.
Accepting the fact that there is more.
Yes.
Going for more. Going for more. I like what you said, because there may be a brick wall in the front. There may be a stop sign at some point.
Yeah.
But until I see the stop sign, until I see the brick wall,
yes,
I'm going after everything my potential says I can have.
Yes.
Somebody said, well, why you need a second car? Why you need a new house? Why you need to travel around the world? Why not?
Right.
Why not? Why not? Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. If someone else can have this lovely lifestyle, and we know it, they still have problems too, but they are enjoying it. Why can't you have it as well? Whatever it is, lifestyle or a relationship or, you know, whatever it is, we can have it. We have to believe that you can have it. You have to believe that you are worthy of having it. You have to believe that your Father in heaven wants you to be happy and to have the desires of your heart. And then you have to be willing to lay the foundation and take the first step, do the work. Sometimes in the past, I look at the whole big picture and I get overwhelmed or and don't want to take the first step to making this thing come to pass. But I know it's not going to come to pass if I stay stuck in my fear.
Billy Johnson says, if I'm willing to work for it, why not me? Here's what I want you to know. Esther Marino says, this is so good, Jocelyn. I'm of the belief, if someone's going to be name brand, someone's going to make the cover of the magazine, someone is going to live in a nice home, someone is going to own their stuff. They're not going to rent it. They're not going to lease it. They're not going to, borrow it. They're going to own their stuff. Why not me? Come on. If someone's going to do well, why not put yourself in the category of the group that's going to do well? Okay. And that's some work. That's some work. But at the end of 2021, there will be people who will have become game changers this year because of the actions they put forward. And they separated themselves from what their family was accustomed to. They separated themselves from what they were accustomed to in relation to the people who they went to school with.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they started to worship with people in church services and found themselves elevating and changing right in the midst of those who they worship with, because they have chosen to go after what belongs to them.
Right.
You don't compare yourself with another. You simply make a commitment to be all that you were created to be. Now, with that said, Ms. Charles, it is possible to be raised, to find yourself hanging with people who on the scale of 1 to 10, they only want to be 3s and 4s. But if your potential demands that you're an 8 or a 9 or a 10, you have to be more committed to getting your potential maximized than to fit into an environment where others are comfortable where they are. If that's where they belong, some people will never be more than a 3 or 4 on a scale to 1 to 10. And if they're okay with that, I'm saying that's living life effectively. If you make it to 5 and you feel good and you can sleep well and you have peace that passes all understanding, and every day you get up, you feel good about life at a scale of 5 on a scale to 1 to 10, I say thumbs up to you. However, if your potential says your God-given ability demands that you be a 10, but you found yourself hanging around and was raised among people who are 2s and 4s, I'm saying it's going to take some work. It's going to take a reconditioning of the mind to be able to get to where you're trying to go. Now, Ms. Charles, when you look at the book, Effective Living, I want us to talk about this for a moment. The chapter that stood out to you, what page, which point? You got a copy of your book. I have mine right here. Guys, if you have not gotten this book yet, get your book. I want her to highlight a couple of things that really stood out to her, because here's the deal. We say it's not a book, it's a tool. It's a tool. It's a guide. If you study it, if you use the information that's in it, it's game changing. It'll help you to get to where you're trying to go. So, Ms. Charles, when you read the book, what stood out to you? Give our viewing audience an opportunity to hear what's for you that you got out of the book.
Chapter 4 is my favorite chapter in the book, and that is believe in yourself, because that's where it starts. It starts with you. Believing in yourself is a choice, and you have to, when you believe in yourself, to me, it's just tapping in to your relationship with God and who God created you to be. If you say I can't, then you're right. You know, there's so many phrases and nuggets in this chapter that you are right on point. We have to take off the limits when we're believing in ourselves if we want to get to the next level, because if we'll stay stuck and we won't grow. Our greatest battle is our mind. Like I said, I operated from this space because I thought that's what others wanted from me. That's what I thought I was supposed to show up from this safe little place. But when I truly embraced myself to the full capacity and all the good things within that capacity, I was just able to live more freely and not care less. I laughed more, I smiled more, laughed at myself more. So for me, it was definitely chapter 4, believe in yourself.
Wow. Chapter 4, believe in yourself. If you have not gotten this book yet, guys, go to my website and order the book today. $24.95. Guys, it is loaded, okay? It is loaded, and it has practical information that you can apply and literally find results occurring in your life right away. If you have not gotten that book, make sure you contact us and let me sign the copy that you're going to get. So you need to go to my website and get a signed copy, and we'll get it in the mail to you right away. Now, Ms. Charles, you've been working on yourself, and on your journey to working on yourself, have you had days when you just didn't feel like going at it anymore? I mean, how do you cope and deal with down days on your journey to living life effectively? I mean, you know, do you just keep pushing and deciding? You know, I teach, don't be guided by your feelings, be guided by your vision. Make that decision to be the one to follow through on what you said rather than how you feel. What's been keeping you going, because you've been keeping at it? And all of us, I guess, have days. I totally believe we all have days where we don't feel as motivated as, you know, as we would have on certain days. But what keeps you going in spite of how you feel at times?
Well, Well, let me go back to being in that moment of being down and being frustrated or just overwhelmed with these different emotions, different areas in life that they just seem to be piling up. I have to take a time out. I have to have some quiet time. I have to meditate. I have to lay on the floor, whatever it is. I have to stop and acknowledge that moment. I have to acknowledge it. I can't run from it. I can't try to bury it, put it in my back pocket and keep, because you're going to burn out. You're going to crash and burn eventually. So I address what I'm feeling through meditation, through prayer, through tears. Sometimes you got to cry it out. You got to have the night. It doesn't feel good, but it's almost like a cleanse, you know,
right.
And you have to address whatever that thing is that has just gotten the last of you. It could be a relationship with a child. It could be pressures from your job. It could be your mindset over a relationship that isn't going the way you feel it should go, or you're not able to have your way as far as that relationship goes. Stop at that moment. If you see it, if it's haunting you day in and day out and you can't shake it, it's time for meditation. It's time for prayer. It's time for quiet time. It's time for no TV, no music. Let me lay on this floor till I hear my creator speak to me. And you have to also acknowledge that it's not going to last always. So go ahead and have that night. Sometimes it might be 2 days, but just know and trust that you will move past it. And you have to have that faith that it will be better. You have to shake it off. You have to be able to shake it off. And you can't shake off being in a negative place if you're one of those individuals who enjoy the moping. And so I can't do it.
You think there are people who enjoy the moping? I mean, like literally they sit in that thing. You think they like the conversation?
Sit in that thing. They sit in that thing. They nurse that thing. They rock it. And it's just like, okay, aren't you sick of feeling like this? But they go there so often. It's almost like the bad place is a comfortable place.
Wow.
That's their go-to. That's what they stick with. And I don't like feeling like that. I understand it's a process dealing with emotions. And so I do, when I catch myself not able to shake a thing, I kind of go to war with it. I'm like, okay, let me get down and deal with this thing head on. Let me get my head straight. Let me pray. Let me have my quiet time. Let me meditate. And before you know it, the new day is coming. The sun is shining. And you're moving on. You're ready to get back on track and tackle that next thing or that next level in life. Say, okay, I'm better now. I'm good.
I am better now. Listen, I talk a lot about deciding not to live from crisis to crisis.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where people find themselves. They sit in there and they start to think that's normal. Where, there are people who actually have grabbed. See, I have grabbed the hold of principles like good things are always happening to me. Someone is assigned to help me. People are good and favor is attracted to me.
Yeah.
And those are the type of mindset I have. But I have met people, Miss Charles, who would say things like, I can't win for losing. When it rains, it pours. I can't win. I mean, they're Debbie Downers. But in addition, as you just mentioned, it's almost like they go looking for a crisis, and haven't realized it, that their life has been a series of issues to the point where they start to think this is how life is supposed to be.
Yep. I was that person.
Wow.
I was that person. I thought that my struggles, I just thought this is what my life is going to be for now. When my children were younger, when money was really, really funny, and all this time I was in church. I was in church, but I felt like I was going through a bad relationship a relationship I couldn't really separate myself from completely. And I was letting the dynamics of that hold me down, and my whole mindset and everything just around it was affected by it. And I had to really tap into the power that God gave me to break myself free from that. And when I started to believe in that vision, my power, that's when things gradually begin to change. But there was a period where I just thought, this is it. It's just going to be a struggle. My finances was like, I didn't look at checks, bank statements. I wasn't trying to balance a statement. I'm like, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know, this person going to always be in my ear. This, oh, well, this is life. This is my life. I really felt that way for way too long. I ain't gonna put my business out there, but it was long enough. That when I started to tap into my power and know that God has so much more for me, because he allowed me to have this vision of the woman I could become. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to have to let this mindset go. You're going to have to start doing things differently. That's going to bring you peace, bring you joy. You don't, and once I started to practice those things and execute those things and put them in place in my life, I'm like, okay, you're taking control. And that felt good. And so just do more of that, and that's what I kept doing till I gradually picked myself up and really truly believed and started taking those steps to making that vision come true as far as who I visualize myself as a woman.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, she tapped into her power and it changed her life. And we all have power. We all have power, and you just have to decide to tap into it. Somebody's, well, I don't have any power. That's because you have not done the work to understand who you really are. You are so much more than who you are right now. I don't care what is it that you've acquired so far, what you've experienced. I don't care what you find yourself dealing with right now. You're still so much more greater than you are right now. Ms. Charles, what has been your greatest lesson being a part of the platform? What would you say has been some of your greatest takeaways that really has stood with you on your journey so far?
My greatest lesson, the thing that blessed me is by I was very intimidated when I started to really tune in to effective living. Now, I liked everything I heard. I liked the individuals and the people, but because I was stagnant in my own life, and I wasn't taking the necessarily, I was present, but I wasn't doing the work. I was just sitting in the cut watching, so I was very intimidated. And so, but I knew I was in a good place. Some people let that intimidation drive them back. And I knew I couldn't go back. I said, I'm not going back. I'm going to have to sit in this big old room of people. If I'm way back in the corner, I'm still in the room. I knew how valuable that in itself was. I said, you know what? You don't feel good now because you feel like a little fish in a pool of all these beautiful tropical fish and sharks, and you're just over here just like, in your own little corner. But stick with it. Hang around. Don't falter. You are in a good place. You're around some good people who are doing great things. So many different influencers. You can't help but grow if you just stay put, and stay plugged in. And that's what I had to believe in that. And I had to get over myself, because it's so easy to say, I can't roll with them. They doing things big over here. I'm gonna go back over here with my crew and get back to that life I was used to, not doing nothing, not really wanting nothing, and being okay with being okay. I wanted more, that didn't match my vision. And so I just stayed put. And so that's what blessed me, is not walking away from effective living, even when I felt, there was a period of time I felt like that. To be honest. And I'm just like, you know what? I love these individuals. They're great. There's so much about different personalities that I love, that I can learn from, that I glean from. Don't you move. Don't move.
Man, listen, I appreciate you sharing that. We're going to end our show with that, because I'm a strong believer of it. I can remember years ago when I joined Toastmasters, it was one of my first groups that I joined and was a part of. Very intimidated by. The environment was just so rich with quality individuals that I felt like, I don't belong, but I didn't quit.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I stayed connected. And I like what you said. Stay engaged, even though you don't feel like you qualify to be in the room, you are in the room.
That's growing pains right there. That really tugs at you. I mean, I cried more tears than I feel that I want to share. But it was really recognizing where I am, recognizing where I want to go, and watching the individuals walk in their thing and do their thing. It was a blessing, but it was reality. And so taking a look at where I wasn't all that much of a good feeling, but I felt good because I knew I was in a good place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Jocelyn Charles has just dropped the bomb. She just is the mic drop, because let me tell you something. That's a closing statement. I know what you're talking about. And I know that there are many people who started and they trickle off because the message can get to you after a while. And especially if you feel like you're behind, oh man. And you start to sit next to some progressive people or people who appear to look like they're in front of you.
Right.
Before you know it, you can start feeling out of place. And you just got to tell yourself, no, this is where I belong.
Right.
This is where I belong. And over the years, I've had to tell myself that, Ms. Charles, and I'm so grateful that you shared that. Listen, tell our viewing audience how they can contact you. You have services that you offer through your business and so forth. Give them some ways to get in contact with you and capitalize on your business services and so forth.
As I mentioned earlier, I have my business as a Mary Kay Beauty Consultant, and I can be reached at www.marykay.com/Miss Jocelyn. I also have a Facebook business page. It's Miss Jocelyn Charles with Mary Kay, and you can also find me on Instagram and contact me there. Look up Jocelyn Charles. I'm under MK Joy, and you'll be able to reach me and touch base with me on all 3 platforms.
Nice. Thank you so much, Ms. Charles, for joining us tonight. This has been a great conversation. Guys, listen, Effective Living this month is celebrating 2 years. In Arlington, Texas, we have what we call Fun Day in the Park. It's Saturday, July 17th at 5 p.m. If you're anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we would love for you to join us. This right here is going to be lit. This is going to be a nice event, fun-filled event. Bring the kids, bring your family, bring some friends, and enjoy the day with us as we celebrate our 2nd year anniversary. For those of you that love travel, you need to come to the Bahamas with us. October 6th through the 10th, we're doing it big in the Bahamas. You got to be a part of this Bahamas trip, because here's the deal. The Bahamas is open back up. I've been talking with my people on that side, and they say, bring the group back. We're going to give them a grand time in the Bahamas. And then I partnered with the Online Training Authority. This company is helping communicators, speakers, coaches, teachers to have a place where people can find them. It's called the Online Training Authority. Go there for your speakers. If you're looking for a coach, it's a great place for a coach. If you're looking for someone to come and speak to your organization, your company, or your church, I'm in this group. And a lot of my friends are in this group. It's a great platform to go to on a frequent basis to get your best speaker coach from, to ensure that you can provide the services that you need or get the help that you need. Listen, guys, Effective Living exists to help you. We're helping you to create a life you don't need a vacation from. In addition, we're helping you discover the principles that you can apply on a daily basis to make life work for you. Ms. Charles, this has been a great interview. I enjoyed this to the max. Keep soaring. Ain't no stopping you now. You are on the move, lady. You are on the move. Hey, guys, if you enjoyed this, tag somebody and say, listen to this interview that is filled with nuggets, principles that can help someone take their life to new levels and new heights. Once again, good night, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Charles. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Those of you here in the United States and around the world that celebrates the 4th, celebrate it in a grand way. Make it a great weekend, everyone. Good night.
Good night.